Humongous what?
Humongous what? Is that sexual harassment? Is that what you...
That's not how you open a can of pickles. You have to pop it, ladies and gentlemen. You have to pop it.
Hillary Clinton. I will be voting for Hillary Clinton.
We need to build a wall.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Middle Minded. I'm Christian.
I'm Alex.
And we want to thank you so much for joining us on this fine Friday, the only place where you need to listen to get a clear and accurate representation, at least we hope.
We hope, as accurate as we can get it.
Of a middle-minded perspective on the issues that are arising, social issues and other issues, political, in the world we live in today. You can find us on YouTube, Stitcher Radio, Podbean, SoundCloud, and soon...
Hopefully very soon, on
iTunes. On all of these, if you guys could leave us a subscribe, a download, a like, or a comment, all of these help us in growing and getting the word out there and sort of sharing the podcast around. So we appreciate all of your love and support. But with that being said, we have something that's been trending lately.
Yeah, it's been trending, and for those of you who looked at the title before you started listening to the podcast, you'll know that we are discussing the infamous Pepsi ad, or considered infamous to some. And we'll get into that, but
it's you can't even. I mean, you can find copyrighted versions of this or people that have re-uploaded, but they actually took the ad down.
Yeah, Pepsi took that down. Probably. Well, we'll get into that later.
Yeah, this was published on Tuesday, April 4th, so I know this is going up a little bit. A few days after that, we both watched the ad by ourselves so that we sort of had our own opinions on it. And I have summarized it. Did you summarize it, or did you sort of take notes?
I just kind of summarized my reactions. I didn't really summarize the video, though.
So for those that have not seen and you're just sort of interested in seeing it, I'll have the link to the video and all the sources we're going to talk about in the description of the podcast.
On YouTube.
And on our website, which is just middlemindedSite.wordpress.com. But to sort of give you a brief summary, the ad features Kendall Jenner getting her photo taken next to a building, and then she realizes a swarm of protesters carrying blue signs resembling peace signs, a blue sort of resembling the Pepsi. There's a lot of other people that sort of realize that this swarm of mob is happening. One of them being a cello player, another one being a Muslim woman who's a photographer. All these people are seeing what's going on outside their window, which is a protest. It seems like a massive protest, and people are dancing and having a good time. The ad ends with Kendall going out to join the protest after being invited by the cello, the violinist or whatever. She walks up to the police line with a Pepsi in hand. She gives the officer a Pepsi. He doesn't seem to be very happy, but he takes a Pepsi, smiles, and takes a drink of it while the Muslim woman takes a photograph of this happening, which we'll get into sort of why that's an issue here soon. The tagline at the end says, "Live bolder, live louder, live for now." So that's sort of a general consensus. The whole entire time you see people, again, having a good time, dancing, laughing. There's partying. It doesn't really seem like a protest. It seems more like a street party that's like getting contained, but they're all drinking Pepsi throughout the whole time.
Yeah, lots of Pepsi everywhere.
Do you want to do your reactions, I guess?
Yeah,
first?
I guess we'll start off. We can start off with initial reactions. I'll go first. So I guess essentially it was kind of cheesy.
Yeah, I can get that vibe.
Yeah, I think I wrote down intense for a Pepsi commercial.
Okay.
Because they're playing that, pretty, like, that pretty, what, I don't know the right word, but that pretty, like, strong, intense song, like, we are the chosen ones or whatever.
See, that's interesting, because I actually don't know if the video I watched had that same song, and I wonder if it was because of copyright. Like, if you changed the song out.
Oh, maybe. If you go to the article, it'll say, it has, the article we had, it linked, what seemed to be the official version of the song. I actually watched the commercial on the day it was released, and it seemed to be the right song.
Yeah, I just don't remember right now. Yeah. You could be probably right, so go ahead. I was just...
Okay.
I mean, maybe that's something to note.
Basically, the song was just a very kind of, it was speaking about protests and how you need to be strong or whatever to to go protesting and everything. I said it was pushing lots of diversity, which is good. But sometimes the way companies do it can kind of be kind of
cheesy,
fakey or cheesy. So that's why I wrote that down. Everything is kind of like cliche hipster liberal style or millennial style.
I can see that.
You know, with all the clothes and the musicians and everything. So a very millennial video. I mean, we're millennials. So.
It's like they were really trying to cater to us. Yeah. Like it was very blatantly clear their target audience. Yeah. Target audience.
Yeah, their target audience was definitely millennials. However, I actually thought the overall message, in my opinion, was good. Now, yes, the way they went about the message very arguably is iffy.
Well, let's talk about that. So I think like the very, left side, left is liberal. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Left is liberal. So I always get that mixed up. My apologies. So I would say that the reason why, and we have a few different people's reactions online. So just to read some quotes from different people, this was trending on Twitter for like a couple days afterwards. But so I think the very radical left they're all really angry because they're comparing it to the Black Lives Matter movements. There is an image floating around that was very popular. It's like the final Kendall Jenner handing the Coke or the Pepsi to the police officer is supposed to resemble something from the Black Lives Matter movement. A picture that was taken the year before. So a lot of people are comparing it to that. I'll get into why I don't necessarily think that was why it was intentional. Darren Jones, he has a YouTube channel. Again, I'll link him in the description. And I quote, he sort of thinks that Pepsi is making protests look cool or glamorizing it. He also references the famous image from the Black Lives Matter movement. So I think like the very left people are saying that like, this is making fun of protests and that this is glamorizing protests. It's sort of making protests look cool. And I can sort of understand that based on sort of the fluffiness or the cheesiness to it. Like everybody's dancing and stuff like that. I can understand where people who are genuine protesters can get sort of angry. It's like, we're not dancing and having a good time when we're protesting. We're sort of serious and angry most of the time. But in my opinion, I don't really think that they would show people being angry. And I'll get sort of more into. Do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah. The other guy we linked is his YouTube channel is called Adrian Expression, but the X is like a capital X.
It'll be linked, so it's okay.
Anyways, he basically said the same thing as Darren Jones, that he thought it was trivializing protests and everything, making them seem fun, like like a dance party on the block, or something. And that makes sense. I do get that because protests are very violent nowadays. But I guess, obviously they're very violent, and a protest is definitely not, just playing instruments in the park. The one reason why I also personally don't really see that as big of an argument is because, kind of like what Christian was saying earlier, is Pepsi is a company. They don't want to be showing all that violence and everything in one of their commercials if they want people to buy their product.
Yeah, I think that when we see that advertisement, we would associate negativity with the product, and that's not what any advertiser would want to do, is associate negativity. And
the other thing is their message is, with Pepsi, everyone likes Pepsi, so if you share Pepsi, then everyone will be happy if you just share Pepsi. And then that's kind of like the commercial message, but the other message is trying to say that you shouldn't be fighting each other to find a winner, the police or the protesters. It should be working together to find peace. No one's gonna get it quite the way they want it, but through peace you can get as close as possible.
A lot of people are upset, like the message share Pepsi and everything will make it better. There's been a few different parody videos already out, like basically two guys will be talking about like a serious issue, like the war in Syria, and they're like, there's no way we can solve this problem. And then another guy walks in and he has two Pepsis, and they're like, wait a minute, There is, and like they share a Pepsi, and then everything's okay. And so I can understand where people are sort of like that. Where like, okay, Pepsi, your product does not make everything okay. Pepsi came out with a statement, a little statement that I'll read. It says, this is a quote from them. That says, "This is a global ad that reflects people from different walks of life coming together in a spirit of harmony, and we think that's an important message to convey." And I agree with that. That's an important message to convey. That people from different walks of life need to come together. In peace and harmony, and I'll sort of get to that. I guess I can get into sort of my views now, but like I don't necessarily think that's the kind of, I guess, image or message you want to convey when trying to promote your product as well. Like I feel like trying to connect your product to peace and harmony is a leap and not necessarily a good business strategy. My first issue with this ad is that people on the news and stuff are tying this to Kendall Jenner. Now, I don't necessarily think that it's Kendall's fault. She's just sort of the main star. You know, she's definitely being used to cater to an audience. People know who she is.
Yeah, she's just like a big name that they want to just,
Exactly.
so people would like it.
But I've seen multiple videos and news sources saying Kendall Jenner's new ad. It's like, it's not her ad.
Yeah,
it's like, that's not
Pepsi's
fair.
ad.
That's
Yeah.
Pepsi's ad. That I feel so bad. I mean, she's completely fine, but I feel really upset that people are just sort of tying this to her name, and just because she starred in it, she gets sort of downplayed for this.
Now I have to be honest, I had no idea who Kendall Jenner was until until I saw this advertisement.
What?
So I had to do a little bit of research.
Did you know who Jenner? What the last name Jenner?
Oh shit! I dropped my notes, guys. No, I did not even know the last name Jenner.
Oh my goodness!
I'm out of touch. But I did a little research, and she was on like the Kardashians.
Yeah.
And she's basically just like a model or like a TV personality. So I just thought it was relevant to say that I don't really know who she is. And
she's
that
basically like a Kardashian sort of type figure.
Because I thought that maybe they're tying it to her for some reason that I like.
Other
maybe
than
there's a past
No.
that I don't know about, which is why they'd be tying it to her. But from what I know, it seems like it's more of a Pepsi ad, not a Kendall Jenner ad.
I think that another point I have is I don't really understand why people are tying this to just the Black Lives Matters protests. I understand that the last image sort of reminds them in terms of imagery of it, but if you pay attention to actually what's going on in the protest or in the movement, it's signs that have peace symbols on it and stuff like that. And I feel like everybody is sort of putting that out of their minds. They're sort of ignoring the fact that these people in the streets, they're advocating for peace. And logically, it doesn't really make sense that there is police sort of, I guess, barricading this peaceful protests and having peace signs, but
I can kind of understand that though. For those of you who don't know, I am very interested in law enforcement. I do plan to hopefully go into that gig eventually when I'm older, so I'm no expert, but I do kind of, I guess, have some insight on the reasoning. And generally, if there's a protest, it's just a fact. Throughout history, violence is more likely to happen in a protest. They also want to keep it under control for the safety of others and making sure it's not disrupting traffic too bad or anything like that. So generally, in the video, they don't have any weapons or any shields. They're just standing, making a line saying, "You can protest, but you just can't go past here because it'll be inflicting with other people."
Exactly. We don't know actually. Like, people are just sort of assuming what's going on in the video. Of course, like the creators of the ad, they're probably not thinking like very far into the ad in terms of, why are these police officers here, or, where are these people walking and stuff like that. But if you think about it, we don't know why the police officers are there. A lot of people are speculating, well, they're there to, make sure nothing goes on. But what if they're there to block off the street, to help the protests? We've seen many instances where police are there to sort of barricade and make sure, okay, nobody's going off into the street, to make sure traffic is okay. We don't know that. And so I feel like a lot of people are just assuming, and you can't assume with these kind of things.
Yeah, there's a lot of assumption going on. And there is one more point I do want to put out as far as assumptions go, is that I feel some people are also assuming the message, or they're just taking things too literally. As you can tell, the protesters have peace signs. They give the Pepsi to the officers and stuff. The point that I got from the commercial is that they're trying to basically promote peace. Say, instead of fighting all the time, try and work together. And I feel that some people are just taking it way too literally and saying, oh, that's an inaccurate representation of protests, etc. and everything, when I don't think that was the point. I think the point was to show that through art and music and accepting everyone, including the police, you can come together and create a sort of peace, at least for a while, so you can try and work.
So you can share a Pepsi.
So you can share a Pepsi. So you can work together to get to the issue. They're not trying to say that Pepsi's going to solve the problem, but they are saying that what everyone has in common is they both like Pepsi, and that although although both sides are different in a lot of ways, there is commonality, and that you should reach that commonality to know that a perfect resolution will never be reached, but that by working together you could reach the best you're gonna get. You know,
I mean, this isn't the first time Pepsi has been under fire for like a sensitive ad. I mean, there was another ad that I forgot to link you, but there's like a 2013 ad where they were sort of using female abuse or domestic violence to advertise their product. And so I guess what I sort of get from this ad is that I think that hopefully a lot of other advertisers sort of realize this, is that there are just some things that you really can't try to market or, you know, try to tie your product to, whether or not you're trying to convey a good message or whether or not you're trying to capitalize on something. You know, if you think about it from a business perspective, yes, to capitalize on a hot topic is a good for your product. And the hot topic right now is protesting, whether it be for Trump, Black Lives Matter, and stuff like that. So from a business mindset, yes. From a social and sociological, I guess, perspective, is that protesting, the purpose of it and what is actually going on is very sensitive. And it is something that has been used as a tool for change and stuff like that. And people... And for Pepsi to sort of market that or sort of, I guess, put a label on that and tie it to their product, I feel like is unethical and immoral, I guess, as well. I don't really think I think that's sort of wrong of them to try to pin their product with something that is of serious consequence and issue, you know? Yeah,
I do see what you're saying, that if you're just trying to take advantage of people going through a hardship.
Exactly, and that's what I feel like if they sort of were doing. That's my impression.
Yeah, I definitely see that side of it. I could see that, like, at the executive table, there's just a bunch of people sitting there, like, how could we make sure people know what Pepsi, you know, look at Pepsi. Well, what's going on today? Oh, well, there's lots of protests.
Yeah, there. Maybe if we create our own protest, but revolve it around Pepsi, people will drink more Pepsi.
That's it.
And I think it's really funny because right now, we might talk about this in maybe next week's cast or something like that. There's a lot of controversy right now surrounding these types of companies because they're boycotting YouTube. And again, I won't get a whole lot into it, but basically, as a quick summary, companies like Pepsi included, are taking their ads off of YouTube because their ads are getting showed on sensitive content, like radical content that they don't like. And I think that it's really ironic and funny that Pepsi is mad that their ads are being showed on sensitive content. So then they then create an ad surrounded by sensitive content, and then they're forced to remove the ad because of backlash.
Yeah, that's a very interesting
And now
point.
Nobody wants to buy Pepsi.
Like I get you.
Looks up Pepsi's.
To be fair, though, it is a different kind of thing because they were more worried about like videos that are pro-terrorism or pro-racism.
Oh yes,
and in a Pepsi
we'll get more into that. I do want to do a show on that because I do think it sort of concerns our generation and sort of the social
it's
response to it.
Yeah,
Pepsi's stock has gone down 0.22%, which I mean it's not a whole percent. That's not very
that was
big.
Today.
But,
look at
that was today. The 5-day is the same sort of. It says after hours. So I guess 5-day, that means it's been down 0.14% in total?
It's been fluctuating. It basically made...
Its lowest point was 111.
Yeah.
Its highest point was 112.53.
For the past 5 days, it's essentially made a U It's gone up it's basically like was at 112, dropped $1,
And now it's dropping
and then
still.
it went back up to 112, and then now it's kind of in between.
So I really hope I really am wondering what's going to happen in terms of the company and sort of what they do to combat this. Of course, like I said, they release a statement, but what else are they going to do? Are they going to put out another ad? Are they going to sort of take a step back for a little while and sort of not put out any ads? Or, their Twitter page doesn't look to seem like they've changed anything. I mean, they posted their pinned tweet right now is their message that I read to you. But other than that, they haven't tweeted since April 2nd. They've deleted all the tweets.
Yeah, they're in a tough situation. Right now, they're kind of like, okay, because here's the idea behind their commercial, their intention was good. They wanted to, their intent was good as far as I can tell. But the community, I would say, in some regards, gave a bit of an extreme outlash. So Pepsi is in kind of a weird position right now because they don't really know how to combat this. I guess they don't really know what's going to work and what's not going to work because when they obviously tried to do something they thought was good, it ended up hurting them. I think that wraps everything up for now. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, I guess the moral of the story is to not take advantage of sensitive issues to promote your product. I mean, is that good in saying?
Yeah, especially in this environment, social environment.
In this day and age, too.
It's everything's crazy.
So, thank you so much for listening. We hope that we provide some insight. Again, this is not just a conversation between Alex and I. We want you to join in the conversation as well. So, whatever you're listening on, if you could leave a like, a subscribe, a comment. We try to reply to most of them, or all of them currently. Anything that you do always helps us out. Share it with your friends. Share it on Facebook, Twitter, all that kind of stuff. And you can follow us on Twitter at middle_minded. All that links will be in the description. Again, thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.
Have a good one.